What is going on, guys? Thanks for showing up on this Friday morning to break down the slate, guys. I know everybody's been struggling. I already see the chat with NBA gone now, but guys, we are back. We're here to break down some esports, League of Legends. I know you guys haven't seen our faces in a very long time, but TJ's back. So, hey TJ, how are you doing? I know you've been struggling with that NBA, and you're muted right now.
Wait, was I not muted that whole time?
I don't think you were, but so I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. How you guys doing? Never in my days would I think that I would be breaking down a League of Legends slate, but here we are. Tough times. Huge shout out to Matt. Has been holding down the fort, been providing you guys with great content, streams. I know he's been grinding the LOL slates for you guys. So, Matt, thanks for everything you've been doing for us. Obviously, this isn't NBA, but it's something. So I know for all you junkies out there that are looking to get some play, League of Legends is here, and Matt's your guy. So yeah, let's break down this 5-game slate, Matt.
Yeah. So this weekend we actually have not this slate. We have this slate, which is 5 games. We have the slate, which is tomorrow, which is 5 games, and then we have the North American, which is our continent, obviously, to break down on Saturday, which is at 5. So guys, show your support on all of those contests, guys, there's a lot of money to be made. These bigger contests, there's even more of an edge because obviously with there only being 2-3 games, one thing goes wrong. As you guys saw last night, there was an upset and everything just went down the drain. Like you can't recover from that. But here you can kind of take different approaches from different teams. You can take a little bit of a team here, a little bit of team that, a little bit of team there. You can do that with NBA. So as you guys know, we're better for NBA for bigger slates, and the same thing can be said for League of Legends slates. So very excited to break this down. I obviously like watching LEC and North America a lot better because first of all, it's in English. It's a lot easier to follow. The teams,
I can understand it.
yeah, I can understand it. So, and we don't have to wake up at 2 a.m. every day. So I'm looking forward to it. Let's go ahead and just jump right into it, guys. I know you guys that are new to League of Legends, I have a tutorial video online. If you guys are completely new, go give that a watch because one thing I preach, and TJ preaches this too, is always take the favorites in cash and don't overthink it because you guys take one player that comes from an underdog team and they end up losing, it could mess up your entire night for cash. For GPP, it's almost the exact opposite kind of mindset where you don't take the chalk or the heavy favorites and then you benefit from it. We saw Osimo do it last night. I know you guys were raving in the Discord about how a lot of the Sharks were taking down contests. Guys, that's because they avoid the chalk, and that's just like any other sport, like with baseball, with NBA. Guys, avoid the chalk and GPPs. We're going to talk about the chalk in just a moment here, but I'm going to go ahead and pull up Bovada. I know TJ's looking at it as well. We broke down the total kills and just the overall spread in general. So just looking off of this, not even looking at the salaries, assuming that all the salaries are in place, we notice two things. One, there's a massive favorite in OG at minus 750. And then there's also a massive over-under here with G2. And it's kind of funny because before this thing was moved to online, the over-under for G2 versus Rogue, which was obviously postponed, was actually at 28. So that's kind of interesting. It moved from 28.5 down to 26.5. I don't know if that has to do with online. Maybe connectivity issues. I have no idea. Maybe they don't play as well online. Regardless, they're still the highest over-under on the slate. So those are going to be two teams, not even looking at salaries, that are probably going to be chalk. Same thing can be said if you guys compare this to NBA, where the highest over-under comes from the Pelicans. They're usually chalk, right? But let's go ahead and just look at point per dollar value. I have here pulled up on RotoGrinders. These are all my custom projections. You guys can grab this on my Patreon tool. I update this and upload this every single day. I'll be doing this later for tomorrow's slate and then also the NA slate. So, also, guys, let me know if the volume's good because I haven't been messing with the volume or... You're good. Yeah, everything's good. Okay. Yeah. So let's go position by position. I know that I did this in the video, but we're going to be talking about the chalk. We're going to be talking about the cash plays. The cheapest here, it's the best point per dollar value, are going to come from Wander from G2 and then Alfari from OG. Very, very straightforward, right? You guys want to target these guys in cash, just period, okay? Because they're coming from these heavy favorites. There's obviously more... There's more projected kills. You guys want to target these teams. The one thing I noticed is that OG as a whole, their salary is cheaper just as a whole across the board. But the top position, that's not the same. So Wonder, you can get the discount from G2 with the higher kills. Alfari, 7.2, that's where you can differentiate yourself. Maybe take some G2 here in the top position. Slightly better on our sheet. You can go Wonder, Alfari, and Arome from Mad Lions. Obviously, I think those are the best point per dollar values. Going over to jungler, Jankos is the best player at the jungler position by far. Just is. Now, it's going to be hard to get up to his 7.6K price tag. If you guys want to take that leap of faith and go for that and grab Jankos, he's not going to be as high owned just because he's so expensive, but he's by far the best on the entire slate, okay, for the jungler position. Xerxes down there, OG, you can get the discount, $800. And never look back. I think he's going to be a little bit more chalk, but Jankos is going to be, at least according to my projections, the best play. Xerxes is also going to be chalk. You can't really go wrong at either one of those spots. Going over to mid, we're looking at the exact same picture. G2, Perks, honestly the best player on the entire slate other than Caps. So again, G2, dominant in the mid lane with... I'm trying to find OG. Oh, Nuke Duck. So this is the one spot where I wouldn't go OG because Nuke Duck is not that good. He's probably the weakest link on OG. I would be going to G2, even if you have to go down the F and C here for Fnatic, for Nemesis. I'm talking cash, guys. I'm not talking GPP. Okay, keep that in mind. I would go Nemesis or Perks. and the mid lane. Okay. Nuke Duck is just not productive unless OG goes for 20 plus kills. It's not worth it. Okay. Going to ADC, the best player on the entire slate. Caps, I keep saying G2.
Caps.
Yep, Caps is the best play. If you guys can grab Caps in the ADC position, by all means do it, okay? You can go down to Upset. Upset was on a tear in the first half of the season for OG, however, has slowed down. I do like Caps. And then a lot of these guys from Underdog, are actually showing at the top of my projections. But again, we're not going to be targeting those guys in cash, okay? Last but not least, we're going to go to support. I know this is TJ's favorite player to target in general. It's going to be Mickey, okay? Mickey is just dominant. He's involved in virtually every single battle, every single team fight that there is. 6.2K. Averages almost 11 assists on the season. Just unheard of for a support in general. G2. Mickey is the best point per dollar value here on the slate. If you're going to ask me who I'm going to be playing at captain, it's probably going to be Mickey, or it's going to be Hillisang down here for FNC just because he's so dang cheap. He's still an underdog. 5K, obviously very, very cheap, but Mickey has so much more upside. Again, with the over-under being at 26.5. It was at 28.5. I could easily see Rogue and G2 going the distance, but that's where I want TJ. TJ, I know you have some historical data to talk about. Can we just go down, because these guys have played one other time this season? If you could just go and kind of give us a glimpse of what that's going to look like if these guys were to repeat.
Yeah, so G2 and Rogue actually all of these matchups in this week are actually they've already played each other this season back in week 3. So when G2 and Rogue squared off in week 3, it was an absolute doozy. G2 put up 20 kills. Rogue actually had 15. The game itself went 38 minutes, almost 39. So it was very competitive, very aggressive. It was a very long match, a lot of kills, clearly. So like Matt has been alluding to in terms of cash, G2 is definitely a team that you want to try and stack. They're going to be chalky, and rightfully so. They actually have, Matt and I have projected team total overs. We actually have G2 currently pegged at 17.5 kills. So if they can eclipse that over of 17.5, I mean, they're the best team in this league. We know that the kills are going to be there. We know how they play. They're super aggressive. They take a lot of chances, and most of the times they pay off. They have so many great players on their team. So G2 is definitely a team that I want to stack in cash. I know Matt wants to as well. But yeah, if this game can be anything like it was back in week 3, if it's going to be that competitive, this would also be a very good game to target in GPPs if you want to try and go both ways. Maybe grab some rogue guys on the other side. But I think this is going to be the best game on the slate, personally. So I'm probably honestly going to be watching it while I'm working. So yeah, Matt, I think in terms, G2 leads the league in kills 17.3 on average. So I think the 17.5 that we have right now after we did the math is pretty accurate. They get first blood 78% of the time too. So like I said, super aggressive. If this game can match up like it did back in week 3 against Rogue, if it can go 38, 39 minutes again, they can get these kills. I mean, this is going to be the game that you want to target.
Yeah, for sure. And it's really going to come down to if OG can get a decent amount of kills to really make sense for their salary, because OG is just going to run over Vitality, just 100%. There's going to be no doubt about it. But it's going to be, are they going to steamroll them very quickly, or are they going to run the distance? Are they going to play with them and get some more kills from it? I think that's really going to be the question mark. And honestly, it's kind of like, it's kind of annoying to be asking that question. It's we can look at these stats. Obviously, games can go the distance, and we don't really know what's going to happen with that. But G2, no matter what, even if Rogue decides to upset these guys, will get kills. And that's the one thing that I like about this team. It's OG and G2 are the guys going to be targeting cash. And I kind of want to stop talking about cash because we're starting to get some questions here. And guys,
Matt, real quick, I just want to point out, when Origin did play Vitality in week 3, they actually did go 38 minutes, just like that G2 Rogue game. They put up 17 kills as well. So I think going OG and going G2 in terms of cash is definitely the safe option. Those are going to be the chalky plays. So
Yeah, and there's one other thing I want to say about cash, and this is in the team position because a lot of people get this wrong because in the team spot is where you can save your salary. You don't necessarily have to go the most expensive. You can grab a favorite, and of course, if they win, they usually can compete with some of these top teams as far as their point output, and sometimes they even outscore them. So let's say, hypothetically, Misfits is the cheapest favorite on the slate. Let's say they go the distance with SO4 here, and they score 21, 23 points, which is about the average for team. And OG and G2 are putting up the similar kind of stats. They can easily outscore them. And guys, this is the best place to save your salary because if you do that in the support, if you do that ADC, if you do that in the mid position, if you're trying to save salary there, you can miss out on a ton of points. But in the team position, you necessarily don't have to miss out on a ton of points by saving your salary there.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Matt, but Misfits is definitely my spend down in terms of teams for cash.
Yep. Me too.
They handled Schalke in their first matchup. Schalke actually didn't get a kill against Misfits in week 3. Misfits had 16. Schalke just straight goose egg. So at 5,200, the cheapest option with decent odds too at minus 305. I mean, I'm all in on them at 5,200. I think that's the place where I want to save my money. And then I saw somebody said it's tough to do a G2 OG stack. It definitely is, especially because of the terms of their price. But right now, I actually have a cash build that I really like that has 4 G2 guys and only 1 OG guy, which I'm perfectly okay with. But yeah, I think in cash, just getting the G2 guys and getting the OG guys, I think that's the most pertinent thing that you want to do. And then trying to save down on your team is where I would advise.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. Let me go ahead and answer some questions here, and then I'll move on to GPP plays because for Patreon, I'm saving the exact stacks for Patreon subscribers. I'm not going to give away my exact favorite players, but I will give away some teams, okay? I'm not going to tell you exactly which players just because, and I'm not going to tell you what my exact favorite GPP stack is, but I'll give you a couple, okay? So let me go ahead and answer some questions. Your latest low-owned stack on Patreon confuses me considering you said they were playing that particular team in the stack slot. Yes, that's why it makes it a good GPP stack. You cannot stack that team that I recommended as a low-owned team with the team that I recommended for cash because you obviously don't stack two same teams playing each other, okay? So again, that's why it's such a good GPP play because it's going to be so low-owned. Again, guys, the most important thing when looking at any kind of sport for DFS is ownership. Ownership, ownership, ownership. You can take advantage of it. If there's an upset, you're going to win a lot of money. That's just how it works, okay? And we know how volatile sports are. As we alluded to last night, obviously there was a minus 600, I think, favorite, and they got 2-0. So it happens, okay? Especially in esports. Matt, are we posting lineups here? You guys can post your lineup. I can tell you if I like it or not. Obviously, I'm not going to be posting my lineup, so no, I'm not going to be posting my physical lineup. Would you play Destiny at captain for cash? I think that's viable. You can get away with that. That's OG's captain for sure. That saves a lot of salary for you. Again, I advise playing a support and the captain position if you're looking to stack a lot of those power plays, those power players, and your main line for cash. Struggling getting into G2, yeah, you already answered that. What position are you use 90% plus of the time at captain spot? Support and top position usually for cash because that allows us to get a lot of those favorites into our skilled positions. I think that's the best way to go for cash. Definitely not GPP. For GPP, it's the exact opposite. You want ADC, you want mids, you want junglers, and your captain position, obviously, because you're trying to target those teams that are going to upset and pay off their value, obviously. Hill is saying, I think we are on the same level. Yes.
I think Greg was alluding to the cash build that I had conducted.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know Hill is saying Mickey and Destiny are going to be very, very heavily owned in the support position. I think Mickey and Hillisang are going to be the heaviest owned.
Yeah.
All right, so for GPP, when stacking GPP for League of Legends, and it's actually very similar to baseball, in the sense that you want to stack either 4 and 2 or 3 and 3. You want to take 4 people from one team and then come back with 2. Or 3 people from one team, come back with 3. Okay, and make sure those teams are never playing each other. Okay, that very rarely does that work for upside. You want to target the 2 teams that one team's going to pay off their value, probably from their upset, and the other team's just going to win outright. okay? Because that team that you're targeting for the upset, they're going to pay off their value, and that creates upside, okay? That team that you're going to be targeting, that first team that's going to pay off value, you want to put their ADC, you want to put their mid, or you want to put their jungler into the captain position. And at that point, it's kind of up to luck which one's going to score the most. But that's how you guys differentiate yourself in GPPs. For cash, definitely not, okay? For cash, you're trying to get as many heavy favorites as you can. Obviously, if the slate goes very... if it's boring and all the upsets don't happen and all the favorites win, then obviously you're just not going to make money in GPPs. You're going to make all your money in cash. But very rarely does that happen, especially for a 5-game slate. Guys, something crazy is going to happen today. Rogue could win. XL could even win. Something's going to happen that's just going to throw the slate through a loop, and the GPPs are just going to break, okay? So that's how you guys stack. Now, when stacking teams, like I said, you never stack two teams that are playing each other. You want to target high kill teams. Obviously, that's like we're just looking up Vegas odds. Right now, G2's projected the most kills, and OG's projected to stop Vitality. Okay? So, with that being said, the highest or the best teams to target for GPP are going to be on the other side of G2 for Rogue, because obviously kills matter. And another great team to target, I don't know if TJ agrees with this, is going to come from Misfits, FNC. I think FNC is just going slightly under the radar because they're projected to win, but they're also not projected the most kills. So OG, G2 going to carry all the ownership, so the next up in line is FNC. TJ, I know you were talking to me about GPP. What are some teams that you're looking to target for GPP?
I really like Fnatic. I know a lot of people are asking actually about Reckles and the captain for GPP. I mean, he's a stud, so paying up for him is going to cost you, but I think he's a great play today at the ADC position on the slate. I don't know if you agree, Matt, but averaging 8.8 KDA on the season, which is absolutely absurd. So I'm really big on Fnatic in terms of GPPs. And yeah, I mean, I definitely, if I'm stacking Fnatic in a GPP, I definitely want Reckles. Whether or not I'm going to have him at my captain spot is tough because it makes the builds from there on very difficult. But I mean, if you can afford him and pay up for him in a GPP, I definitely don't mind that.
Yeah, I actually have Reckless in a couple of my GPP builds too for ADC. It's tough because FNC is also very expensive, so it's gonna put us in a tough position. If you're gonna stack FNC, come back with OG, that makes sense. But again, it's very hard to get those skilled players in that AD or in that captain position. So maybe Blippo from FNC at the top position might make sense. If you can get Reckless in there, like you're alluding to, it's going to be very hard to get them in there. I think Misfits you can probably grab in there as a secondary stack. But again, yeah, I do like Fnatic just because of the ownership.
Yeah, Matt, it's Reckles.
It's Reckless.
I know. Kidding.
Yeah. Sorry, I said that to correct you. Because you know what? I always mispronounce NBA players. Now it's my turn.
Huh?
Right. What?
Someone said I thought his name was Reckless. It is. I'm just an idiot.
Yeah, well, that and the guy didn't spell it right, so that's cool. That doesn't help.
Yeah, you gotta spell, guys. You know, I'm really big on if you spell something, I'm gonna pronounce it the way it's spelled. You know, it's plain and simple.
All right, so could you stack G2 and Rogue and GPP? No, because that limits your upside unless it goes 60, 70 minutes, okay? That's the only time.
It personally. I mean, if they have about what they did last game, 20 kills, 15 kills, like I personally like that GPP stack. I think it's crazy to do, but I mean...
It could work because of the kills, but again, you also got to take in consideration Rogue is the cheapest guys that you can grab at very low ownership on the slate. It's going to come from like XL, SO4, SK. One of those guys, I'm not saying one of those guys are definitely going to win, but if one of those guys does win, that's going to be the optimal stack 100%. Like if they win, if they get 20 kills, it's going to outscore anybody that's trying to stack Rogue and G2. It's going to outscore anybody trying to stack OG. It's just going to happen. Okay? So that's the only thing. Okay. I got lost. Where am I? Do we have starting lineups for today? So the good thing about LEC is they're very straightforward and they don't usually sub last minute. Actually, they pretty much never do, 99% of the time. So if you look on your phone, DK is pretty updated with that. If there's a Q or an O tag next to them, they're not playing. Okay, so you can, there's a safe bet that you can go ahead and play anybody. I think there's one player for I think it's on XL that doesn't have an out or a question tag, but we're not really looking at them anyway. If you're playing GPPs, actually I can tell you which one real quick.
Tell the people, Matt.
Yeah, let me go back.
Give the people what they want. A lot of people loving the Destiny at captain move.
Yeah, I actually had him in my very first build at my captain spot.
Yeah, I mean, definitely viable. He's very cheap. Great matchup against Vitality, so.
Forgiven, that's who it is. Forgiven in the ADC spot for SO4. Okay, Shaka. Forgiven with a 1 as the I. So that's the guy that doesn't have a Q or an O tag that's not playing. Okay? So hopefully nobody takes him.
For Schalke?
Yes, I believe so.
I had to get you back to the pronunciation.
Schalke, yeah.
Schalke's soccer team, so.
SO4, that's the small.
It's SO4. Hey, call it SO4, baby. I love it.
Now.
SO4.
All right. Reckless captain Chalky, absolutely not. Reckless will not be a Chalky captain. That's actually a great move if you're playing GPPs.
Right.
Cash lineup: Mickey, Wonder, Xerxes, Perks, Caps, Hillisang, Misfits. Love it. Good cash line. If they have a rematch like the first, wouldn't they still score as high as low scoring game in G2 match? I'm not sure I understand that.
I think he's talking. If they had a rematch like the first, wouldn't they still score as high as low scoring game in the G2 match?
Can you reword that for us, bud? Just real quick, I think I know what you're trying to say, but I just want to make sure. Fnatic and Schalke for GPPs.
Did you call him Bub or Pup?
Bud.
Oh.
Bud. Sorry.
We'll call him Pup.
Fnatic and Schalke for GPPs. Yes, they are good GPP stacks for sure. The ownership will be very, very low in Schalke. I have him pinned at -5% ownership. So again, virtually unowned. OMG, I thought, is Destiny at captain a good move? For cash, yes. Again, for GPPs, do not advise it. FNC Rogue stack, or is that too wild? No, it's not wild at all. That puts you in a good spot because FNC is favored. Rogue is a slight underdog.
Chris, I think Matt's not talking about Reckless's ownership in terms of I think he's talking about in the captain spot specifically.
Yes. Yep.
I don't think he's talking about just percent ownership. I think he just means in the captain spot.
Absolutely, yep. Reckless in the captain spot will not be high owned. Under 5% as well.
It's just tough to build from there on out.
Yep. Do you play your cash lineup in GPPs? So, good question, because I do, but I play it in very small GPPs, less than 100 people. Okay, I never play it in the big GPPs because if I have a support there, and like I said, unless everything goes completely right and all Vegas odds are completely right, and G2 scores, not like last night, and G2 scores exactly 26.5 points, then that makes sense. But guess what? It's not going to happen. It's probably not going to happen. Okay, guys. So we don't want a support in the captain spot for GPPs normally, unless they're very small GPPs. Again, I've taken down. I know TJ has too. Taken down many GPP slates or GPP contests with very small amounts of people with their cash lineup for sure. All right, where do you find starting lineups? I think that was asked already. Cash build, Captain Hillisang, Wonder, Yankos, Perks, Caps, Kaiser, Team Mad Lions. Kaiser, let me look at Kaiser real quick. Kaiser for Mad Lions, yeah. I mean, that's definitely viable. Definitely doesn't pop up on our sheet. Is not that good statistically, but if you want to throw him in there, obviously if they win, should have a decent amount of upside. He's just not usually that involved as these other supports. But again, not that bad of a play. Like, guys, I'm not kidding. Mickey's probably involved in like 90% of these guys' team battles. It's unbelievable.
He's a boss.
Great player. What is the best team spot for GPPs? Well, again, team spot's not really that something to target, okay? It's not really something to pay attention to. Team, you can grab, as long as they win, they're fine, okay? They range from 21 to 27 points. Obviously, there's not that much upside with teams. So, again, the best team that I like to look at right now is Misfits and Fnatic. Fnatic, Misfits, Mad Lions, and G2. Those are going to be the teams to target. Origin is at 6K is probably not the best bet for team.
Right, and they'll probably steamroll Vitality. So
yeah, that's another thing. That's a great point because you want to target teams that are going to go the distance. So G2 is honestly a better value than Origin, even though they're not projected to win by as much as Origin is. All right. Wow, I look back and I missed a whole bunch of questions. Okay, hold on. Let me catch up here, guys. I guess this is what I do not understand. How is Reckless not going to be top 2 ADCs owned?
We touched base on that.
Oh, okay. You're right. Okay. Is Dan a good spot at top position? Yes, he's not a bad position. He's gonna be very low owned though. That's the thing. So more so for GPPs, but definitely if you're trying to save salary, I don't mind it. He's not bad. He's very volatile though. Like one day he shows up and then the next he does not at all. I think that's really kind of Misfits in general. Misfits can really upset anybody. What?
That's life, baby.
Yeah.
Some days you bring it. Some days you're like, I'm just not feeling it.
Honestly, guys, it would be interesting to see how these games are played online. I don't really expect it should change too much, but at least I know from video game experience, I know TJ does too. Like that can change everything. If somebody,
dude, go ahead. Sorry.
If somebody has like host advantage or there's a server that's closer to them, like it could definitely change things up. I know OG's like playing from a little bit further, so that's kind of something to note. But again, it shouldn't really matter too much, but make minor adjustments for the next slate for it.
Also, if you're really big into narratives, guys, Rogue's got a tough back-to-back. They got G2, then they got Fnatic tomorrow, so
that's interesting
take that
too.
into consideration.
Yeah, Rogue needs to show up. I think they're trying to get up in the rankings there. I think they're struggling just a little bit to get in the top 3.
And I'm worried about some of these guys, carpal tunnel, stuff like that, off of back-to-back. Maybe some guys rest tomorrow. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. The only reason anybody would...
That's my LOL joke for the day.
Yeah, there you go. The only reason anybody would take off is because they're sick.
Right. They're, from mashing the keyboard.
If Rogue scores high like last game... Okay, you redid your question. If Rogue scores high like last game, they still scored as high winning teams on the same that were played that day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm stupid.
Okay, so he's alluding to the first match between G2 and Rogue, where it went 20-15 in terms of kills. It was 39ish minutes, so very high scoring in terms of kills. A lot of points going to both teams. I think he's alluding to a G2 Rogue stack in terms of GPPs, which I said I really like. Obviously, you would need that type of week 3 performance to repeat itself in order to have a chance in GPPs, because if Rogue just gets smoked off the rip, then they're not going to score those types of points that they did in that first matchup. So yeah, it's tough, but I don't mind it.
Again, you would also need the rest of the chalk to hit. You would need no other upsets for that to win the GPP.
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
Yep.
Okay, Kaiser is the best, but tough matchup. Yes. I did not realize I should not play support at captains for bigger GPPs. Thanks. You're welcome. Yep. I made that mistake a lot early on. Back when I first started playing League of Legends, I was like, I can get all these really good players in my lineup and then also put a good player in the support. But you guys don't realize how much the ADC actually scores. They can literally get 10, 15 kills a map if they wanted to. And the support can nowhere even come close to that. So again, they can rack up assists, but they're usually not going to get kills. Kills make a huge difference. I keep coming up $100 short in my cash line. Yep, guess what?
Reach.
Jump on board.
Reach.
Would a 3-2-1 stack work on this large slate? That's only 6. I think there's 7. So if you're talking, so no, for cash it would, but not for GPPs. Again, I don't recommend it. Even though Rogue, I already read that. Bro, can you imagine one of these guys get diagnosed with corona and still play? Okay. All right, now we're taking it one step too far here.
Chris, imagine that and on a back-to-back. Imagine that. Imagine game 5 and then they come back game 6 with corona.
Come on, man. Oh. All right, it's 12:11, guys. I'm not going to get off quite yet, but again, if you guys have any more questions, feel free to ask. I think we covered pretty much everything that we can.
Might be on restriction, Matt.
What? Oh, one other thing to notice, guys, or one thing to note, sorry, not notice. One thing to note is that the LPL, they play a best of 3. I just want to make sure everybody knows that this is not a best of 3. They all play best of
Correct.
one, which is why it's
Best
so
of one.
volatile. Anybody can beat anybody, right?
Right. Yeah.
So they do not get the 20-point bonus. So that's why, like, OG being so heavily favored against Vitality, that's why it's not really that big of a deal. Because, again, they could get 14 kills today, win, steamroll, and it really doesn't create that much upside. So they don't get that 20-point bonus for doing a best of 3 and winning 2-0. They only win one game, and they get whatever kills they get in that game. So that's why these are so fun to play, again, especially for GPPs. So that's why we're targeting, that's why we're so heavy on G2 is because the kills. We want kills.
Give me kills.
A Rome at captain, I've seen that. Again, it depends on if you're playing cash or GPP. Yeah, for sure, man. Absolutely. Just here to help, guys. Again, if you guys are still lost, again, I have all my custom projections in my Patreon. So again, if you grab that for $20 a month in these tough times, really appreciate it. You guys can have exact access. Again, the Vegas odds change, so I update that like almost every couple hours. Okay, so I update that based on the line movements, and me and TJ were talking about how we calculate it, and we just made sure we're on the same page. Guys, they are very accurate projections. Okay, I go back through historical data. I'll be doing this tomorrow. Oh, by the way, tomorrow's slate video will be uploaded in the middle of when you guys are watching this slate, so be prepared for that as well. I'm going to be actually recording the video right after this. So,
Greg, I think he's just so cheap because of the matchup against G2.
Who?
I think that's plain and simple.
Who?
Han Sama.
Oh, yeah.
ADC for Rogue, yeah. I think it's just solely based because of the matchup.
Yeah, I was looking at his stats too. They're really not that impressive. They kind of, yeah. I mean, he plays ADC for a good team, but he's actually kind of one of the weakest links on that team, which is kind of sad.
G2, the pace-up king.
It is. I mean, it's a pace-up game.
No, Rogue's actually the team in a pace-up spot.
Guys, if we were playing Call of Duty, whatever game TJ would be playing in would be pace-up.
Yeah, pace-up. Just go. Just go.
Just run.
Just run. Run as fast as you can. Don't look back. Just keep going.
I'm pretty sure this guy Reckless rhymes with... No, it's Reckless. I'm almost positive it's Reckless. I've heard them pronounce it.
See, I said Reckles. Matt corrected me and said Reckless.
It's just not spelled right.
Oh, you think?
All right, I'll give it a couple more minutes, and then we'll go ahead and get off again. Not too much more to cover. We've pretty much covered the entire slate. Guys, the Patreon subscribers, check out those GPP stacks. One of those should pay off today, of course, if they do upset. I really like some of those plays. They go heavily under the radar for percentage ownership. And again, if you grab some of those ADCs, very, very likely that they'll pay off in an optimal lineup. Also, last night, guys, I don't know if you noticed this. If you guys play GPPs, I recommended LNG as a top stack, and they 2-0'd, and they were in the optimal lineup. So,
yeah, they were.
I don't know. Just saying.
Yeah, it was a real good call.
Are we stacking G2 and someone else for GPP? Good question. I tried to make it happen, guys. G2's so expensive. It's hard to do. It really is. If you're playing GPPs, the team to stack with is more preferably going to be an OG because it allows you to get those ADCs in the captain position. But G2, if you can, do it. I just don't recommend putting a support in there. Thank you, Darren, for the subscription. Really appreciate it, man.
Thanks, Darren.
Sorry, came in a little late. Who's the two cash stacks? OG and
Coming
G2.
in hot.
Yeah. G2 and OG. If you want me to give a brief overview of the slate, guys, I'll do TJ's rapid fire. Cash.
Ooh.
G2, OG, stack Mercs, Hillisang at captain to give you the most people you can stack in your lineup from OG and G2. My favorite GPP plays and stacks in general: FNC, Misfits, SO4, and Rogue. Those are my favorite GPP stacks. That was pretty fast. But again, I want to name individual people because it's just such a small slate. It's not like we can do this. It's not like the NBA. I don't want to give away my favorite plays because, again, I'm trying to save that for Patreon subscribers.
Gotta save it for Patreon, baby.
Yeah.
You're not signed up? Sign up.
All right, guys. I don't see any more questions. Reckless, Blippo, Inspired, Nemesis, Caps, Hillisang, Rogue. Wow, I read those names pretty well. For GPP.
Dude, besides Reckless, because you keep pronouncing it Reckless, and me and Chris are on the same page, we believe it's Reckles, so you're wrong. Pronounce those fantastic.
Well, he didn't even spell it Reckles. He spelled it Rex. So I don't know if you see his comment.
Oh, he did spell
Yes.
it Rex. Yeah, so
Totally
Greg,
nice.
you actually spelled it wrong. That's on you, Greg.
You stacked G2 hold on. I think you stack 3 teams in there, man. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if you stack 3 teams, I don't prefer that.
Less GPP.
Yeah. Patreon, best deal around. Appreciate that, man. Really do.
Job,
I put hours and hours into that every day, and TJ knows. I'll talk to him for the first time at like 12 o'clock, and I'm like, man, I just got done crunching like 2 hours of work here.
Yeah, you guys are really taking up my time with Matt, so it's...
No, I do put a lot of time in that, guys. That's exactly what I'm gonna do after this for tomorrow's slate. Again, it's the LEC again, so thankfully I'll have to repeat a lot of these names and these price tags. I just have to barely adjust them. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get off. TJ, any last words?
No. Good luck, guys. Like Matt said, if you're not subscribed to his Patreon, make sure you do that. Puts out a ton of great information for you guys, especially for all of his Patreon members. So best bang for your buck right now in terms of DFS content out there, I would say. So get subscribed to that, sign up, make sure you do that as soon as you can. No, I mean, in terms of this 5-game slate, in terms of cash, I wouldn't do anything crazy. I think G2's in the great spot, and so is OG. So if you can do your best to at least get 5 or 6 of them in there, I think that's the most viable thing that you can do for cash. And then, like Matt said, for GPPs, Misfits Gaming is a really good one to target, Fnatic. And then, I personally like the G2 Rogue stack, just hoping for another barn burner like it was, another 38-minute matchup. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, good luck, guys. Yeah.
One very last question, and it's a good question. That's the only reason I'm addressing it. Do you stack only 2 teams in cash? You can, but again, cash is where you can kind of differentiate yourself and grab a little bit of exposure to a lot of these teams. So you don't necessarily have to stack 2 teams, but you can. Okay. For me today, I might stick to 2 to 3 teams. Just saying. All right, guys. With all that being said, have a great day, and let's cash.
Good luck, guys.